everybody. Welcome to the Fun or Nothing podcast. This is episode number 2. I'm here with Morgan Young, my bestie and my roommate, and we are very excited to share all the fun that we have together. And I cannot believe this is real because we've been talking about this for so long, and now it's actually happening. Look at us go!
We're doing it.
Welcome, Morgan, to the podcast.
Let's go.
We own Fun or Nothing. We are the Fun or Nothing. I'm looking for the word that, like, founders, but not just founders, but like we practiced it and proved it, and we show it to the world.
Yeah.
And we make sure that it is something that's really important in our lives that we maintain, and we do it together. We make sure that we do it together.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see you create Fun or Nothing. Like, I remember when you first brought it up, and then I think someone bought you some cups with Fun or Nothing on it, and then it just became this way of life and this way of living. And watching you fully step into that, I'm like, how does she do this? And then you moved in, and I was like, oh, that's how. Yeah. And I've been trying on Fun or Nothing for 8 months that you've been living here, and
we're about to have our year living together anniversary.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna have a big party.
I did marry her, by the way.
I have a ring.
If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it.
If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. Actually, I have 3 rings on it.
I bought them all.
She got me all of them.
That's how you claim a woman right there.
Hey. Got the hottest woman in town.
I know, right? I do have a tendency, by the way, you guys, to go into my masculine whenever I'm around women, just because I grew up with 4 brothers, and I moved in with Morgan, and I was like, I'll be your hubby. Not that she needs one, but I can't help it.
I love it.
I'll smack your butt, tell you you're beautiful, take you to dinner, and buy you rings.
And you're a little bit of everything for me. You're like my hubby, you're my mentor, you're my bestie, you're my sister, sometimes you're my mom.
Yeah.
You know, it's just you're everything to me.
And same in return.
I'm just so grateful for you. So yeah, Fun or Nothing, it's been a big practice now in my life, because I wanted to figure out, because it is a way of life. So for me, I was in a hustle mode, and I was really push, force, like I need to make my way in this world and make a certain amount of money. And I get in my masculine when it comes to work. Yeah. And you have been the one to show me, like, no, when you are in that mode, you're pushing money away from you.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see it for a long time.
Yeah.
But you showed me that, okay, the more fun you have, it raises your vibration that much more.
Right.
And it raises your energy levels so that you can attract the money to come to you once you finally sit back and allow yourself to receive it.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful for, cheers, so grateful for that, because the more fun I started to have, the more money and abundance started rolling into my life. Everything got easier. Things started to make sense. And I'm doing now my whole life in all these different, not jobs because I'm an entrepreneur, but all these different like little businesses that I have. Projects. I'm retired.
Yeah.
And we just have projects going on. I love that you taught me that, because that's a game changer.
Yeah.
It's a whole mental shift.
Yeah. Everybody should retire.
We're all retired.
Everybody just retire right now, and then say to yourself, I'm retired, but I'm working on some projects.
And those projects should all bring you joy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much money they bring you.
Yeah.
Because the more joy you have, the more abundance comes in organically.
Yeah.
We just have to receive it.
I love that about you. I love that you're such a receiver and you're so willing, and that's what it takes, is a willingness to at least dabble in it. You know, it's like, okay, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I do value the happiness within this person, or I do value, something about the person. You obviously want to take advice from somebody that you think is special, or that has some kind of success that you like. And, that was a big question for us. It was like, do I even have the success that you like? And when it was a big yes, it's kind of like, okay, well, what is it that that creates that for you. And then, but it's still a risk. It's still something that you had to take a risk to do, because when you're so heavily trained to hustle, as was I, it was a big leap of faith that I took to sit down for a little while, to get rid of my jobs and to say like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills, but I'm just going to give this a try. And then when you go from having only $200 to $30,000 and you're like, wait, I didn't even touch the money. You know, there's a feeling that's attached to that. And so it's like I had this proof, and then it happened to you. You know, you set down the hustle, and then you got a nice fat check, and you're like, wait a minute, okay. And then that proof stacks a little bit, and then you're willing to commit a little more. And then I just remember you going into your office and starting to make videos or doing the thing, and you were like all day, and then you start to make a video and you'd be like, my computer's not working, and she's still cute, by the way, whenever she goes into her little hustle mode mentalities. And I would come in the room and I'd be like, set it down, you need to go play. And she's like, I already played for 3 hours today, I need to work.
It's so true.
And I'm like, no, you need to go play. And then all of a sudden Morgan's like, fine. And then she would set it down, and one specific day she came out here, and I'm talking to you guys, she came out here and she put on, what's the movie?
Legally Blonde.
Legally Blonde, the musical. Now I don't think I've ever seen this movie, maybe, you know, but I have my movies that I have all the songs memorized.
Musical. It's different than the movie.
Oh.
It's like,
Okay.
there's the movie and then there's the musical.
Okay,
this is the musical.
Okay, this is very specific, by the way, guys, because I've never heard any of these songs. And she puts it on and she sings the whole musical.
I got
every word, dancing and prancing around the house. And then she goes in and she makes her video in like less than 2 minutes with a smile and everything. And that's that whole plugging in the vacuum thing from episode 1. But I just love that you dabble in it and you do it, and now you're seeing the success of it, and it just makes you so happy to watch.
Well, I just trust you so much. I mean, the way that you live your life, I admire that a lot, because obviously you're having a lot of fun and you are successful. So I want to, follow in your footsteps a little bit. Your past of you working like 7 jobs and hustling and grinding and pushing and forcing and making no money from that, you're unique enough to like scrape by, but that once you set that down and you got your fat check and then you attracted, everything that you have attracted, it was amazing and incredible. And I'm like, okay, I see that she did that. I've been trying this on my own for about 7 or 8 years. The financial thing is my school of life. Like, finances are my school of life. I grew up very wealthy.
Right.
And then, but to make that wealth on my own,
right.
That's my challenge. That's my, the school of life that I'm in, figuring it out.
Well, we're not really taught how. We're taught how to hustle. And we're taught that this equals that, but then the examples in our lives are not always, and it's, so what do you think for you, like go into your childhood a little bit, because we're very opposite. And I think that's some of why we get along, is because we are willing to work with each other, because we're so similar, but we're also so opposite. And so it's kind of like this gift that we get to reflect to each other. But with your childhood, it was more very stoic. She was already an adult by the age of 5. And so you came in super adult, and now you're kind of working your way back to being a child, right?
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, I mean, because I did grow up, it was wild. I kind of grew up like country club, but I also grew up like boating, and then we had the farm and all these different aspects, which are beautiful, and I'm so grateful for all of it. Like, we had the private plane, the boat, we'd go to the Bahamas and back like every other month, and it was a wild, exciting upbringing.
Right.
And that just showed me this whole level of lifestyle that I wanted to maintain. But then, when you graduate college and all you've ever wanted to be was a cheerleader your whole life, it's like, well, I still don't know what job I want to do. So, get into journalism. I'm like, oh, I'll be a pretty face on TV. And then it's like, I want nothing to do with that. And I want nothing to do with real estate. And I am figuring out all these things that I don't want.
Right.
And then the things that I do want, I'm like, well, how do I make money doing that? And it's just, you think that you have to force all of this to happen, when the second that I set all that down and started having fun, started trusting the process, loving and listening to my emotions, that was a game changer. I didn't realize that I had suppressed all these emotions, thinking that I'm lazy and thinking that I'm not productive or good enough, and all of that.
Yeah.
It just,
Yeah. Yeah, and that was something I watched you, go through. It was also the realization that having fun can lead to, it's not just having fun, but it's really tapping into what excites you and then following it and trusting it, and really not like seeking out like, where's this going to take me? And it's just been really fun to watch you do that. And you've taught me so much, like moving in here. Moving in here, did you want to say something before I go into our story?
yes.
Okay, go for it.
I wanted to define fun a little bit,
Yeah, do it,
because
do it.
like fun, it's almost like flow state.
Yeah.
It's tapping
can
into
feel
flow
it.
state. It's that plugging in the vacuum, that alignment to source energy.
Yeah.
The more fun we have, the more abundant we feel, the more we can appreciate and have gratitude. Those are all super high vibrating energies. And the higher our vibration is, the easier it is to attract everything that we desire on, subatomic level. Everything's energy, and the more we, raise our energy, the more we can attract in. So that one day where I think we walked the dogs and we we're just super high energy, we came back, we started journaling, wrote everything down that we wanted. And then the week after that, we're seeing everything
All the
that we
things
wrote
we wrote down to the
Everything.
T, you guys.
Like, it was nuts.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and that's all the details. Like, there's so many details to it where you think like, oh, it's just fun or nothing, just go have fun. And it's like, no, you really have to do, there is still work to do. It is still, we view it as a job. And that's fun. You want to go into some of the habits of it. It's like, okay, people will ask like, all right, I know that I need to go plug in my vacuum, and I know that I want to plug in my vacuum before I get to work, but what does that actually mean? So what would be some of the things that you do? Like, what does plugging in the vacuum mean to you? I mean, I know them already, but like, it's like, if you say, okay, I'm out of alignment, I'm frustrated, and I'm working and I want to get to work, but I know to get into alignment first, what are some of the things that you would do to go get into alignment?
well, Legally Blonde the Musical was
Yeah,
one of them. That was a great example. Prayer, I'm a big Jesus girly. I loved pray. I love to tap into the Word.
We love Jesus.
Yeah, talking to someone who lights me up,
Yeah.
who sees my excellence.
Yeah.
Like you help me plug my own vacuum in. Like, you're my mud buddy.
Yeah.
In the mud buddy.
Tell them about Mud Buddy.
Okay.
This was one of the things that she offered to me. I was going through some hormonal stuff treatment, like 2 years ago, and it wasn't working out. I was testosteroned up a little bit, like, and Morgan came over and she's like, Becca, you're in the mud. And so go on with that. I love that.
You're in the mud. Like, when you're in the mud, you're stuck. You can't see clearly. Everything feels heavy. There's the weight of the world on your shoulders, and it's stressful, and you're stuck. It's depression, it's anxiety, it's any of those lower vibrational energies. But you know what grows from the mud? The lotus flower grows from the mud. There's always a lotus that grows from each mud area struggle that we're a part of.
Yeah.
So no mud, no lotus. There's
mud, no
literally a
lotus.
whole book about it.
Yeah.
But that's why it's great to have a mud buddy. You're my mud buddy. You're going to come pull me out of the mud when I'm stuck, and I pull you out. We help each other find clarity in the mud.
Yeah.
Clarity is the key that gets us the lesson that we're going to learn from the mud, and then it pulls us into that beautiful lotus, that bliss. And you can't have one without the other, because that's the duality of life. It's the light and the dark. It's the contrast. You can't see the beauty of the lotus without the darkness of the mud.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't need clarity. It's like you want the clarity of just going general. It's like maybe when you're in the mud, you don't want to get specific, and but then that's when you're in the mud, you're like, I need to figure out what's wrong with me, and you need that mud buddy to say, hey, nothing's wrong with you. You're just in the mud. If you can just relax and find things that do bring you peace, which is what I needed so badly in that time frame. And so a good example was she brought brownies over and she made brownies. She brought crossword puzzles because she knows I like crossword puzzles. You took me outside, and I like to go outside in the sunshine, and so she laid out the carpet that I had in the front yard, and we sat out there and did crossword puzzles. I think you played booty bongos on my butt. I did. I mean, she did everything she could possibly do to make me feel better. It wasn't working. No, it worked.
Yeah. But that's all we got to do is just pull you out just a little bit, so that you can see some of the light. The light at the tip of the lotus.
It totally worked, and I was very grateful, and she taught me so much just in that round of being there for me. And
it's cool. Whenever you said you know, in the mud, you can dig,
Yeah.
you know, you dig
Yeah.
a little bit deeper. Like shadow work is like that too. Like
Oof.
if you're in the mud and then you start to try to force this lesson out of the mud, it's like you're digging yourself a little bit deeper in the mud.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a beautiful, maybe you find more lessons and more of a bigger
Yeah.
lotus
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
something, like deepering the roots of the mud. I don't know what it
Right.
is, but you're kind of digging yourself deeper into it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a cool visual
I love
in
it.
my brain.
It changed a lot for me because anytime after the Lotus, just sometimes things just resonate with you, you know. And then after you put that Lotus thought into my brain, every time I would go into a little emotional hole, I'm like, wait, I'm just in the mud, and I'm a beautiful flower, and so that's stuck with me for a long, long time.
Like lightens it a little bit.
Yeah, thanks,
It's
girl.
like,
Cheers.
it's beautiful. The process of being in the mud, you're still beautiful because there's a lotus to come.
Okay, so let's go into that. So, and that'll segue into our story a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I moved in with Morgan last July. Yeah, we're about to have our 1 year move anniversary. We'll have a party, and I think we're gonna, set up a kiddie pool and Jello wrestle. We call that conflict resolution, but that's a whole nother podcast episode.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. But and when I moved in, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm just moving in with my fun roomie, or we're gonna be roommates. It's gonna be fun, and it was just going to be a cool experience. But then when I got here, it was like everything just reflected all of a sudden. All of a sudden, I'm seeing myself in her a lot. And so I get to, learn from you as being Virgos and very similar in that way. But then also, you started to help me when I would go into an emotional hole, for example. You did the thing that not a lot of people do for each other, which was not judge me or try to convince me to leave it. And that's something I really admire about you, because it's like what I needed was, because I'm strong all the time, I needed somebody to look at me and be like, you don't have to be strong right now. Yeah. You can actually just cry and be ugly and not only in those heightened emotional moments were you there for me, but it still trickles in where even like just a couple weeks ago, I'm saying like, I'm talking to some people and I'm like, oh, well, I'm very rarely upset, but when I am, and then later on, Morgan's like, hey, I just want to point out to you that you said I'm very rarely upset. Like, you don't have to justify that you're rarely upset. And I was like, wow, I don't even know I'm saying these things. I didn't even know I'm trying to justify that I'm not strong enough. And so there's still learning and growing to do just by being roommates and being willing participants and being willing to say the hard things and knowing that I'm open to receiving it and so on and so on. So.
And like one of the best parts about us is that we know we have each other's best interests and best intentions with each other. Like, our intentions are pure. We aren't trying to hurt each other. We're trying to mirror and reflect, is this who you want to be right now?
Right.
And that's the most beautiful gift anyone could give, is that honesty. Yeah. And like, we sat down yesterday and had a 2-hour conversation of showing each other our own like shadows a little bit. And it's hard. It can be hard to hear, but it's not when it's coming from you, because I know you want the best for me.
Always.
And I return the favor.
So I want you to go into space love advice, but before that, what you just described is what is the definition of love. And of course, everybody has their own opinion on things, but I'm a big Teal Swan follower, and she defines love as in 2 ways, and I just love it. It's caring about somebody in their best interest and then capitalizing on it. So that's like the next step. And, Morgan and I pour into each other, and we try to figure out, like, for example, this podcast, she has helped me set it up. It's like the Becca show, but Morgan has been my fullest cheerleader the whole way, and whatever pendulum swings I've had to do it or not do it. And so that's one. And then 2 is taking one as a part of yourself. And so when you do care about somebody, you can't hurt them, because you're hurting yourself. And so when you look at life and you look at people and you look at animals and you look at every scenario of life as, I want to take everything on as it's a part of me. And there's that whole touch in the spiritual porcupine. When you hurt something, you hurt yourself. And so if I don't have your best interest at heart, then I'm just hurting myself anyways. And so why not?
Yeah.
And it's nice to have a partner that will do that.
We work on this together constantly.
Yeah. And we encourage others to do that. And if they don't, we boot them out.
Honestly, sometimes you got to pull the weeds.
Yeah.
You water the garden, water the people in your life, and then
another one lotuses around here.
Another one bites the dust.
Yeah, but it's just, we don't mind being tossed out ourselves. Like, I know there's people out in the world that have boundaried up on me that don't want necessarily my, energy around them. And I respect that. And I love that. And I want to be around the people who value the things that I do and say and love, and because I am making that effort, and you make that effort. And that's why we do appreciate each other and love each other.
Yeah.
High five again.
So grateful. Yeah.
So space, love, advice.
Yes.
This was very important for me. This was also Morgan's, platform that she teaches, not just me, but other people, and we apply it in our relationship, and it's been something that's worked really well, and I think that everybody should take this on. So
yeah. So I'm really grateful. I did a 6-month road trip around the country with my ex-boyfriend Wolf. Great human.
We love you,
Love
Wolf.
you, Wolf. And we created this way of communicating with each other, because he was one of those guys I come to him with some type of topic, or I want to vent about something, and I just need to get it off my chest, clear the air, and he's going to give me some advice right off the bat. And I'm like, I just needed I needed to talk. I needed a hug. I didn't need advice right now.
Yeah.
I need to work through this. I need clarity. So when someone sits down with you and they're like, hey, I want to talk to you about something. I'm like, okay, do you want space to just get it off your chest, let it all out, give you 5 minutes, whatever you need?
yeah,
Do you need love? Do you want me to just hold you and we'll take 5 deep breaths together? Or do you want me to give you my 2 cents?
yeah,
And most people jump to the 2 cents instead of the hug.
yeah,
Or instead of just letting them bounce and work through it. Most of the time, I just need space so I can work through my own thoughts out loud.
yeah,
And then I come up with my own solution. And it's like me trusting me instead of,
right.
all
the advice from other
the
people.
ego of someone else
Yeah.
that just wants to be heard and seen.
Yeah.
I want to be heard and seen.
Yeah. This is huge for me because I, in the decades before I met Morgan, and even trickling into Morgan, I was already working on it, but I was an advice pusher because I'm very masculine. I grew up with boys, and no offense to men, but it's very a man trait. It's just like they want to solve problems. It's innate in them to solve problems. So it's just like, oh, you have a problem, let me solve it right now. And it's like that's kind of one of the things I would suggest to men to kind of learn is, women just need to talk. We need to vomit it out sometimes. And so, cute stories. I lived in Ravenna, and when Morgan would come over. And I know talking to the camera, as Morgan would come over and she would just not say a word sometimes when I would start venting, and not one word. She would just stand there and listen, and I would be like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. And I'm getting all these epiphanies, and she hasn't even said one word. She's literally just offering me up space to just vomit it out, and then your brain and your heart would just figure it out on its own all of a sudden. And that was huge for me. So I learned space, love, advice in that way then, before I even knew what space, love, advice was, because you influenced me. You did it without even teaching me that. You were already being that. And so now that we live together, it's what was the 8-second thing? We tried to follow that for a little while. Do you have 8 seconds?
Or 8 minutes.
8 minutes. That's a long. Oh yeah, you can't get it all out in 8 seconds. Well, whatever. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you have 8 minutes? That's just. Apparently there's like a study or something that if you just give someone 8 minutes and they feel heard, seen, and valued, they know that you're there for them in a turbulent time.
Yeah. Similar concept.
Yeah, similar.
It's like just sit down and say, hey, and so Morgan will come to me and say, hey, do you have a second? Or and actually you are the one that reminds us often to space, love, advice. Or do you have space for me right now?
Yeah, do you even have the bandwidth for what I'm bringing to you right now? Because sometimes I'll get a phone call and I am in the middle of my workload, or I have a lot going on, and a friend is like, hey, they just unload on me, and I'm like, I do not have the bandwidth for this right now. I wish I could. Can I call you back in 30 minutes once I have, some
creative
space
for you.
I got to create space in my life. So that's where boundaries come in.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful
We're learning
for
boundaries. Yeah. That's a whole other episode too.
Yes, it is.
So all in all, you and I living together has been an exponential journey of, I feel like it's just exponential growth, because one, we're both so willing and we're putting all these habits into practice. And so something I thought would be important to talk about today would be the habits of happiness and also unhappiness. And I know we talked about the Lotus and like how we go into that and we need a buddy, but you and I both have very strict habits. We're very disciplined on the way we tap into our happiness and the things we do daily that are super important to us, like our mantra. And then also when we are unhappy and in our hole, we have specific things that we do for each other. So what are some of the habits you do to create daily happiness?
Well, definitely the praying, meditation, yoga. I'm going to say some weekly habits because I love variety.
Yeah.
So I love my workouts. I think working out, staying healthy, fit physically, mind, body, spirit.
Yeah.
We got to stay
Mind, body,
fit in the
spirit.
mind, keep reading books, listening to podcasts, journaling, and meditating. Body, workouts. I like to mix up my workouts. So strength training, yoga, kickboxing, golf, like all these different fun things. Lyra, pole every now and then. And in spirit, again, praying, reading the Bible, doing those disciple group, going to church, spending time on the beach.
Yeah. She actually just started her own Instagram where she said because she's such a beautiful voice and she used to put these meditations on YouTube and her voice is just amazing. And then I think you even had a God download because it was just inspired action for her to say, why don't I? And so if you look, what's
Morgan's Daily Grace.
Morgan's Daily Grace. So guys, look up on Instagram, Morgan's Daily Grace. You actually hear her saying her prayers.
I pray
And
once a day on there. I do my daily devotion. I just read. I do what I would normally do in silence, but I just record it.
Yeah.
My face isn't in it, so I'm just trying to just be of service to the Lord and of service to the community. It's like a guided meditation, but it's also time with community and the Lord at the same time. So.
yeah. I love that. I know, me too. I'm
so
proud of
happy
you
about
for doing
Morgan's
that.
Daily Grace. It was just
feels
an
good.
inspired action.
Yeah. It's funny because I know her so well, but I don't know if it's like I'm knowing her so well because even before I can feel it. And so whenever Morgan's doing something that's in alignment to her purpose, I know. And so I'm just like, don't do that. And she's like, but why? And I'm just like, I don't know. I just feel it. And then when she's doing something in alignment, like even the posting thing, when she was posting before and her intention behind it was more money driven or, and I just,
work.
I just felt it. And I was like, don't do that. It's like, but now she's posting and I'm like, oh, it feels so good. I love it when you're posting on the internet. And it's just, there's a feeling
and it's so
behind
much
it.
easier these days. But it's taken some time of me setting down my pride of life and setting down this thought of I need to post on Instagram because my life coaching business revolves around Instagram and social media and posting and all that stuff. And by me figuring out the fun or nothing way of life, I'm bettering the people who come into my life coaching program because my story this is my story.
Yeah.
This is how I'm going to help better people. And yes, the life coaching and optimizing people's lives is great.
Yeah.
But it's not going to support anyone if it's from my pride.
Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely love that. I think you're stunning. I think you're beautiful. I think you have encompassed the fun or nothing way of life. I think you have validated me 1,000 times over, encouraged me, and shown me, how you can influence somebody just by being present and soft. And again, something I love about Morgan is the way she softens things, and she takes some of my aggressive beliefs and softens them and puts them in a cute little basket and then delivers them to people, and I just love that.
I mean, we both do it for each other. When we're around someone, especially someone new who we cultivate into our lives, we collect humans.
Yeah, we're human collectors.
We collect humans. So when we
I
collect
taught her
a
that.
new human,
I was like, you gotta collect humans.
it sounded really creepy at first.
I know, but that's one of the ways that, like, with the habits of the daily grind, if I'm ever feeling low about myself, not just low, but like something I do to create happiness in my life is to pour into other humans. And there's even studies done on this. You actually have, the dopamine, serotonin in your brain that if you hear somebody compliment somebody else, you feel better. And so imagine going out and complimenting people. Like today, I woke up with a cheesy smile on my face. I've just been really deep into my gratitude practices, and I was just like, all day. And
Yeah.
so, of course, everybody I saw today out in the world was just like, oh my God, I love you. I love your hair. I love your smile. I love this. And I'm just like, then I'm over here getting just like happy hit after happy hit after happy hit. And so it's a committed practice to go out and love on humans. It's like something that I look at as a job. And so we call ourselves human collectors because we collect humans and then we make them feel really good and then we pour into them and then
Yeah. And I feel like the more we go out into the world and love on everybody else around us, or we create a platform like a party or an experience like my monthly happy hours, all of those are us, giving and receiving so much love.
Yeah.
And love is the highest vibration of energy.
Yeah.
So the more we do that, the more abundance and beautiful things come into our lives.
Right.
And we don't do that from a place of, I'm doing this to get something.
Right.
It's always just become who we are.
Yeah.
We are that love.
Yeah.
And it was a practice. It took time.
Yeah.
We've worked on ourselves a lot. And
lot.
it's not perfect. No. We are definitely not perfect.
No. We need help.
Help. I need somebody.
Help.
Not just anybody. Becca.
I swore I would not sing on these podcasts in a second. No, I'm kidding. I sung into a fan the other day, and I felt like a freaking rock star. I was like, oh. I'm pretty sure I was famous.
Whitney Houston, too.
I was famous, and it was Whitney Houston. Yeah, the
That's
only time I'll
amazing.
scream Whitney Houston is in a fan.
Cheers to that.
So Morgan teaches yoga. She also is a life coach. She also does teach Lyra. She also, what else do? You do a lot of things, not just for personal stuff,
Yeah,
but
life
if you
coaching,
guys want more Morgan,
public
it's
speaking.
public speaking.
Freelance marketing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's doing a lot of that.
mean-
That's probably your biggest paycheck. I love that. And so
Yeah.
opportunities have been flying in. So if you guys want more Morgan, you
Yeah.
can find more Morgan.
Yeah.
And then we're
MorganYoung.com, and that's YONGE.
Yeah, make sure you get it right. Young,
Right. There's
young
no
Morgie.
U. There's no U in my last name.
We call her Young Morgie when we're feeling a little ghetto. But also we have events every month. Like I have a Fun or Nothing social coming up on the 28th. She has her Happy Hour Society. It's going on strong, by the way.
Strong, almost 2 years
Grandma
at the Happy Hour
started
Society.
it.
Yeah, Grandma started her happy hour group 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I started my happy hour society 2 years ago, inspired by her.
Yeah, Grandma's
And-
gangster too, man. When
Love
she did a
her.
blend happy hour one time,
It's called a
and-
happy hour collision.
Collision.
My group and Grandma's group.
Yeah, and then I meet the people, and I was like, oh, well, how long have you been in your grandma's happy hour society? And one lady was like, I don't know, she was like 70 years old. She's like, oh, I put my name on the list like a year ago, and I finally got in. And I'm like, wow, it's that serious? And
Yeah.
I love that. So that's
Yeah.
where we're headed, guys. Make sure you get on the list now.
Get on the list now for the happy hour society. It's
Yeah.
exclusive.
It could take 15 years.
Yeah, you never know.
But anyways, any closing thoughts?
I just love you so much.
I
I'm
love
just
you.
having you in my life, having you in this house. Like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to live without you now
never.
because, yeah, we are gonna have to have a giant mansion.
Yeah, we're going Bali culture. Bali texture. That's our next house.
Yes, it is.
I want those
We're
cool
very
stairs
excited.
and the pool inside.
Yeah,
You
Ooh,
ready?
all the plants.
Who run it?
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And even our dogs are best friends.
They are
Isn't
best
that
best
the
friends.
best?
And Bella doesn't get along with a lot of people, but she loves her some Sunny Buns.
Yeah, Sunny Buns and Bella Bear.
They're actually right here. Bella is at my
They
feet,
are,
and
then
Sunny's
right over
looking
here.
like a cute little chicken
Oh,
nugget.
they're so cute. I could eat them with a spoon.
I tried to eat Bella once. She wouldn't let me.
I eat Sunny every day for breakfast. But I just love having you in my life, and you've changed my life so much, girl.
Oh, same. Same.
There are no words. No more
Same,
words.
same. I can't even take it. And now we're doing a podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, cheers. again.
Cheers.
I love you,
15th
girl.
cheers of the day.
Yeah, I know. These are mocktails with a little vodka.
Mocktails with a little bit of vodka.
Just it. These are our waters because we're obsessed with our Starbucks cups. And we probably drink about 6 of these a day.
Yeah. Thanks for being my sugar mama every now and then.
Anytime. Okay, you guys. Fun or Nothing podcast number 2. definitely a treat to have Morgan be number 2.
Yeah.
More to come. It's every Friday. These are going to come out every single Friday. You will definitely find more Morgan on the podcast, and I'm very happy to be in this life with you, and I'm very happy to have a podcast where we get to show off who we are and how we live and the happiness that can be on this earth and how we can share it with others. So there's plenty more to come, and we love you so much.
We love you. Mwah. More to come.
Thank you.
Yay.
Okay, I love you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye now. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.